everybody, I'm Sean Reynolds from Sportsnet, about to be joined by Ken Weeb from Sportsnet. Together we are Kenny and Renny, and this is the Kenny and Renny post-game show after another absolutely wild game involving the Winnipeg Jets. I'll tell you this, the Winnipeg Jets, they are a rodeo, man. Like, there's nothing about their games, even this year, and I think it was that way last year, years before. This team is a rodeo. They come rolling into town. Nothing is under control. Everything is all over the place. Now, I got to give the Winnipeg Jets credit. Their ability to survive and win the rodeo, they're like a championship bull rider or bronco rider. I mean, their ability to get on and hold on to these things for 8 seconds or longer and win is something else. But I'll tell you, you get the feeling it doesn't need to be this way. The fourth and fifth 6-on-5 goals surrendered by the Jets in their last 3 games sends this one to overtime. I'm not even going to touch right now in this opening monologue here. I am not going to touch the situation with Jamie Benn and Connor Hellebuck and the goal that was allowed. We'll get into that later. I'll give you a little hint. You're not going to like what I have to say, and I know that because of the conversations that I've been having with people on Twitter. I have to say I'm absolutely flabbergasted, to be honest, with the reaction that I'm seeing, and not just fans. I get fans. I understand fans. Fans, they're going to side with their team regardless, and not surprised by the reaction of the team. It's the same thing. They're going to side with them regardless. But the media members in this town, I'm blown away. I'm truly blown away by what I think is an absolutely black and white call. It's pretty simple in my mind. You're not going to like what I have to say, but we'll go there anyway. There's parts of that game. I think that's a really interesting game for the Winnipeg Jets because there's parts of it that I absolutely love. Parts of it that I think were, that it felt like a hybrid style to me. Those of you who've been watching this podcast know that the old style that the Winnipeg Jets had, the kind of, I wouldn't say run and gun, but the opportunistic scoring their way out of games. I think there was a little bit of that here tonight, but there was also some really solid, Rick Bowness-esque hockey that I do think is going to set this team up to do really well, to defend well, all those kind of things. I have to say that once they went up 3-2, the first period, again, was a bit of a rodeo, up and down, all over the place. But once they got that third goal, I feel they kind of locked in to Rick Bowness' style of defending a game. And it's really interesting. When we were down having a conversation, myself and Jamal Mayers were talking with Rick Bowness before the game against Minnesota. And he used this term. It's funny when you get a player, a former player around a coach, and they start using this kind of inside lingo that I don't feel they use often with us in the media because they don't think we'll understand it, right? But he was talking with Jamal, and he referred to a structure on the ice that the Jets use as 5 on the dice. And I thought, wow, that's what good coaches do, right? They give you one little word, and then the imagery is in your head. What does 5 look like on the dice? Well, it's 2 here, and 1 in the middle, right? If you notice the Winnipeg Jets when they were defending that lead, that if the puck's down in the corner, there's 5 Jets players on that side of the ice. 1 covering the boards, one down on the player, 1 down by the end of the net, so that if they try and ring it around, they can go grab the puck there. 1 on the far side to keep it from going across, and a guy in the middle who's just ready to float and kind of shut down whatever lane opens up. Absolutely brilliant stuff. I thought the Jets did great at that until they ran into the 6-on-5. And I'm not even going to dig into that because I think it's a topic Ken and I have to address. 5 in 3 games. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And I don't think this was the case on the last goal, but the first goal that they scored, the 4-3 goal that the Dallas Stars score, I think is a premier perfect example of whatever's happening on that 6-and-5. The Jets, when they're playing 5-on-5, are doing a phenomenal job of keeping players from getting to the net. And on 6-on-5, it all breaks down. So we're going to get into that, dive into it. Exciting game, no doubt. Jets getting 2 points. It's great, but it's not one of those all's well that ends well situations for the Winnipeg Jets. You allow the team that you're chasing in the standings to get a point out of nowhere. it looks like it's going to be a dogfight at the top of the Central Division for a long time. So giving away points like that, if it happens with Carolina, so be it. That's the East. You don't have to worry about those guys until maybe you see them in the Stanley Cup final. But this is a point that could come back to haunt the Winnipeg Jets. That's my take on it. Let's bring in Kenny, get his take on it, the guy with the best music in the business. Here comes my man down from Texas. Here's Kenny. Everyone is mistaking which of the two of us is dressed by Vittorio Rossi here tonight. But looking fine, my man. Just wanted to give a heads up to anyone. If you want to look like Ken, well, you better head on down to Vittorio Rossi. Go see Frank and the Boys. They can do you up. Head down to Gordon Avenue. Go tell them Kenny and Renny sent you. For my part, if you want to look like me, well, you probably got to hit up the Black Friday sales and maybe H&M or something like that. But Ken, I know it's oil country down there. Are they running a drill in the background right there?
Oh, yeah,
that's
sorry.
Or what's happening?
The map, or they're getting their arena ready, I think, for the maps. I think so, yes. I believe so. But yes, that they're more than 3/4 done. So I'll try to keep it brief at the buffet, and then
Don't
by the
keep
time
it brief. Go.
Well, no, I just mean with the. They can come back to me once they're finished here. They'll be done in about a minute and a half. But anyways, I have just one small quibble with your assessment that the Jets gave away a point. I mean, yeah, I mean, did they give up a point? Yes, I would not. I wouldn't use.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Okay, that's where we'll disagree on this one. You know, Well, I guess the power play had just ended when they got the third goal. With Robertson's shot from the point, Nate Schmidt just out of the box. I know, Sean, you were at home and you saw a replay. I think that Schmidt actually might have tipped the shot from Robertson. I know there was traffic. I think that Schmidt might have had his stick on the shot from Robertson, which is what really fooled him. Oh boy, you believe that, Sean? You believe that?
Oh also? Yeah, I think you're entirely gone. Anyways, get going here. So we'll get into this because I knew which side of this you'd land on. So I'm on the right side. You'll get on your side, but let's just keep going. Finish your thing.
Well, the Jets had a strong response to a lousy effort against the Minnesota Wild, is how I saw that for the majority of the game. 5-on-5, the game was fairly even. Yes, the Stars' power play, I think, was much better than the Jets in this one, but I would say the Jets played quite well for the majority of the game. Yes, in the third period, I think they maybe sat back a little bit. Obviously, they gave up 20 shots on goal. That's not a great recipe for sustained success after building a 2-goal lead. But overall, I think the Jets' effort was pretty sound. And after giving up the 2 late goals, I mean, again, there's no chance that the Jets are happy with giving up 5 extra attacker goals in 2 games, essentially, played over a 3-game period. But I think that their game overall was a pretty sound response to what was a egg laying in Minneapolis. I think the Jets, it was interesting. I mean, obviously, when Axel Jansen-Fjallby is getting a promotion to one of the top lines, it sort of reinforces what you and I have been talking about, and you're coming around to my side of the equation on that one. So I don't think we'll be arguing about simply everything tonight, but overall,
we'll try.
Impressive job by Josh Morrissey to collect himself after his the explanation that and obviously, hey, did Josh Morrissey push Jamie Benn from behind? Yes, he did. Sean, did Josh Morrissey pushing Connor Hellebuck lead Jamie Benn's right shoulder to knock the mask off of Connor Hellebuck? That I'm not so sure
You're
of.
Being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous.
Perfect. Good. Anyways. I'm happy to argue
Listen,
about this.
he initiated contact. Did he go
So
into
what?
it? Every single player does. Listen, this is
Sean,
so
you and I have.
let's get into this now. No. You had your say. Let's get into this right now.
Good.
Let's do this, okay? This is a textbook calling of this call. Connor Hellebuck has no mask. Why? Because Josh Morrissey initiates contact, right? And we can go into the like if Josh Morrissey doesn't push him into the goaltender, none of this happens. So it starts with the Jets initiating a play that Connor Hellebuck loses his mask. Okay, now let's get into it because someone sent this to me earlier on. According to Rule 9.6, when a goalkeeper has lost his helmet and or face mask, and so there you go. That's tick number one. The opposing team has control of the puck, which the Dallas Stars did. Play shall only be stopped if there is no immediate and impending scoring opportunity. Now, I'm seeing journalists across Winnipeg trying to say that there was like nothing happening and it should have been blown down. How many seconds later does the puck go in the net? I mean, this is an immediate scoring opportunity.
It was 4 seconds.
4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's in the back of the net. You're trying to tell me that you can't see that something is happening in that 4 seconds, that this play was dead before that? This is called to the letter of the law. Now, I've been into it with fans on this before this. If you want to change the rule, let's have that conversation. Do I think we should be keeping players safe? Let's have that conversation. But if you're getting upset about this, this is what I don't understand, Ken. I don't remember last year when the Winnipeg Jets benefited from this exact call going in their way. And you'll remember this because you were astute enough to let the Sportsnet panel know when this happened. I believe it happened in the playoffs, and you got a hold of them because they were saying, we've never seen this before, and you were like, it happened earlier on in Winnipeg.
Marc-Andre Fleury's glove got knocked off.
Marc-Andre Fleury. And in that case, Marc-Andre Fleury's glove got knocked off by Blake Wheeler. There was no one else around. Blake Wheeler knocked his glove off, and he had it off, and the play goes on, puck goes over, and Josh Morrissey wires a puck about 2 inches away from Marc-Andre Fleury. Kyle Connor wires a puck about 2 inches away. Now, listen, I get it, but this is what I'm saying about fans. I do not remember anyone in our chat room during that game screaming about player safety and saying anytime someone loses an article of equipment, anytime a goaltender loses an article of equipment, that this should be blown down. I didn't see Jets fans scaling the glass and jumping over and diving in between Marc-Andre Fleury and Kyle Connor's shot to keep them safe. This is my issue with this. This is why I'm heated about this, because I keep hearing from the same people who were telling me that this wasn't a problem when the Jets benefited from this. And now it's not. Now this is a problem. Like, this is called to the letter of the law. This is exactly what the rule states, is exactly how it's called. You can get mad at me all you want. This is exactly how this is supposed to be called in the rules. Now, do I like the idea of a goaltender being out there with no helmet on and taking slap shots to the head? I don't like it at all. So let's have the conversation and petition the league if that's where you want to go. But everyone who's acting like this is like the first time we've seen this, you saw it last year. The Jets benefited from it. No one that I remember had a problem with it, and everyone has a problem now. And to me, it reeks of homerism in the chat room, in a lot of what I'm hearing from the local media. I don't see how people can't see that.
Sean, you and I both have had our share of run-ins with the goaltender, and anytime we have been pushed from behind,
you go with the push.
I can't speak for you, but I certainly would not have.
Go with the push.
I definitely finished off a few pushes from behind. My issue with the call is, hey, Josh admitted pushing him. You're 100% right with that. But Josh didn't cause Jamie Benn's shoulder to finish.
Okay.
There is no, and I mean absolutely zero chance that Jamie Benn was going to let up when he saw Connor Hellebuck's helmet there.
He got pushed into the net.
That does not give you. That does not give you the right. That does not give you the right.
Oh, Ken, come on!
To shoulder the guy in the.
This has gone the other way, and you've had no problem with it. This is
What
going
are you
the other
talking
way.
about? When's the last time a Jets player ran over an opposing goalie?
Goaltender. Every player that gets
I understand it, and I'm fine with it.
Falls into the goaltender.
Okay,
That's how it goes.
Yeah, my issue.
He's not getting that. He's not getting called on that. So unless it's a penalty, unless he throws an elbow or something like that, and it's obvious, he's not getting called. So it's a moot point. What you are talking about right now is
it's not moot.
Point. It is an entirely moot point. It's a pointless argument to be having right now because it's a moot point. He was pushed in. So unless he follows through with the cross check or throws an elbow, he just falls into the goaltender. It's a moot point. No one's getting called for that, and so it's a moot point.
Okay, I mean I would disagree. I mean it's not a moot point to me. So Rick Bowness also talked about this in the post-game show.
This is right.
Sorry, Julien Labossiere.
Why
Why was the play stopped when Jake Ottinger's pad came off immediately? So that was what Rick wondered. He said he was confused. Anyways, Jamie Benn's a big guy. So my bigger issue with your argument, Sean, I got no problem with, yes, Josh pushed you. But that did not put the goalie in danger. The shoulder to the head is what put him in danger, is what I would say. Again, 4 seconds is not a long time in the grand scheme of things. Here's my bigger issue, Sean. I don't think any of the men wearing stripes in the game actually noticed that Hellebuck had even been down on the ice. So that's my bigger issue on the play, I think. Anyways, is it obvious? Is it black and white? No, but I don't think under. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, it. The goaltender is in danger. I don't think Sean. I think that you're putting the tinfoil hat on if you thought that Hellebuck sold it. If Hellebuck sold it, Rob Millette is not coming out to go through the entire concussion issue on that.
So
that you're also selling that as part of the conspiracy theory?
No, I'm glad you brought this up because this is nothing anyone is talking about. Someone made a comment here about hands don't get concussions. Okay, I'm glad the concern has gone to concussions. Here's a player.
Wasn't his hand, it was his shoulder.
Here's a player. No, it's Ken. The guy is talking about the Marc-Andre Fleury reference and how he had no glove on. So people are trying to differentiate now. They're trying to say it was okay last time it happened with the Jets, even though he could have shattered every bone in his hand. Because it's a hand and it's not a concussion. That's what Waiters is trying to say. Okay, I've got time for that argument because I agree. A concussion is far worse. It doesn't mean you couldn't shatter a goaltender's hand and he'd never play again. Doesn't mean that. But
okay, so blow them both down, Sean. Blow them both down.
Agreed.
So why are you saying it's ridiculous that the whistle should have been blown?
Because I'm saying
it's not the 40s. Goalies shouldn't have to stop a shot with their face, Sean. Come on, man.
Let me respond. I'm saying what's ridiculous is that all this concern is here now, and it wasn't when the Jets benefited from this last time. I would have more time for this argument from the entirety of the Jets fan base if they had been standing up when they benefited from this exact same thing. And same with the Jets players. Like if Kyle Connor last year, when he took that shot, would have gone to the refs and said, refs, this isn't fair. We should take that goal back. He lost his glove and I shot right at his glove. He didn't stand a chance, right? No one was saying that. That's what I've got issue with. I've made it clear on here. If we want to have a conversation about, hey, if a goalie loses his mask, you blow it down, let's have that conversation. But that's not the conversation we're having. The conversation we're having is, was this allowable by the rules? And it was. It's black and white by the rules. And let's get back to the whole concussion thing, because you're bringing that up as well. When was the last time you saw a player who was so banged up in the head that he lied on the ice for that long and he stayed in the game? If it's a direct, this is another reason why I think that this is all BS. No one in here is saying yes, Connor Hellebuck was too banged up to have continued on in that play. And it's also a problem that he wasn't taken out of the game by the concussion spotter. No one is saying that. Why? Because I don't think anyone in here thinks that Connor Hellebuck was so hurt. Like, we're not talking about a concussion right now. Does anyone think Connor Hellebuck's not going to make his next game? So the reason this rule is in place is so that a goaltender can't lose an article of equipment and take himself out of the play when an issue is going on. This is the very reason. I'll get down to the very reason this rule exists as it does is so that a goaltender can't lose equipment and negate a potential scoring opportunity by losing that equipment. And that's what, if you ask the refs, they think that Connor Hellebuck was doing.
I think that Connor Hellebuck put his glove over his head because he didn't want to get hit with a puck. I don't think it was because he thought he was concussed. I think
he lied there for a long time after the goal was scored.
I think, Sean, I think that a goalie being hit by one of the hardest hitters in the NHL would naturally fall down. I don't think he was trying to sell a penalty on the play. I think he put his glove over his head because he didn't want to get a puck in it. But anyways, I don't want to spend an hour going crazy. Sean,
I'm just going to finish this up.
Sean, I love your intensity. I love your intensity.
That's so wrong, Sean. Come on, the rule exists to prevent a goalie from serious injury after they lose the equipment. Stonewall Dave, I don't need to read it again. The rule that exists was called exactly as it is written on the ice. You are citing a rule that does not exist, and that's my issue with all this. Everyone is fighting a fight, and they're fighting the rule book and the rule as it exists. This was called, go look it up. It was called exactly as it exists in the rule book. This call was made properly, period. I don't think there's a gray area in here. People can be upset all they want. They can tell me to wake up, but Stonewall Dave was referencing a rule that does not exist. He says the rule exists to prevent a goalie from serious injury. This was called exactly as the rule exists. So Stonewall Dave, you are citing a rule existing that does not exist. That's the problem with this argument. Anyways, move on.
Just a quick one on that. If the puck goes to the slot and it's banged in, so let's go to the paddle save that Hellebuck makes. So if a shot goes off the post on that play when the helmet is off and it goes to Seguin's stick and he bangs it home, by all means, that to me is an immediate scoring chance. On this sequence, the Stars had time to get the puck, make a play, get it back to Robertson. He looks up and sees the net's open, has time to unwind a clapper. So to me, the only gray area on the play, Sean, would be immediate versus not immediate. Now, if it's 4 seconds and that's enough time, like I said, I don't think that is, to me, where the gray area is. But again, I'm not going crazy here. I think that the rule is stupid, mind you. But
there
again,
you go.
Then it has to be stupid for everybody, like you said. To me, Sean, this is a comparison to me, not 100% direct parallel. This reminds me of the goalie interference where James Neal is going for the rebound. He essentially slashes Connor Hellebuck in the mask. The puck goes down and he bangs in the rebound and it counts. To me, that's absurd. If you get a stick in the helmet, it should not have counted at the time. So I can understand why Connor Hellebuck would be upset. We would have loved to have heard from Connor Hellebuck. I'm guessing he would have been quite animated, I would imagine. It was an animation-filled game. He made one of the best saves of the season with his paddle on Tyler Seguin on that rebound chance. Anyways, I love your intensity. I just don't want to get, I don't want to get derailed here. I think there's lots to get to. If we want to circle back on it, by all means, all I'm saying is it looked like... I
don't have anything else to say on it.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad. Like I said,
everyone keeps coming back to the same argument, and it doesn't. I think I've explained this. Like Julie Sue says, if the mask comes off, the play should always be whistled dead. This is an argument about changing the existing rules. To me, that's what I'm hearing from the chat room. The chat room doesn't like the rule as it exists, so change the rule. Different conversation. We can have that conversation anytime anyone wants. That's not the rule as it exists right now. The rule as it exists was called on the ice tonight, and that's why it was a tie game. That's why it went into overtime. Kenny, give me your Lamplighter of the night.
Oh, Lamplighter. It's got to be Morrissey. A lot of good candidates on both sides for sure. Got us, the overtime winner. Again, this is a bigger picture argument for me. So the reason why I'm choosing Morrissey, is because he's right in the heart of the engagement. He's the guy who the refs say pushed, and by his own admission, pushes Ben in, the goal is allowed to count. So if you're Josh Morrissey, you're probably baffled for one, and for two, you're probably pretty ticked off about it. But you know what? He had a great quote about not hanging your lip and doing something about it. So what does he do? He gets out in overtime on the first shift with Blake Wheeler, with Adam Lowry. The Stars won the draw. They got the puck into the offensive zone. Really smart seal by Blake Wheeler on Miro Heiskanen. He gets the puck. He springs. Again, we said this the other night on Monday when Morrissey scored in overtime. Absolutely incredible read by Morrissey. He sees that Robertson is flat-footed. He sees Blake Wheeler get possession of the puck. He makes a beeline down the left wing. He catches the puck in stride. And Sean, Jason Robertson is one of the fastest skaters in the National Hockey League. He beat him down the ice, and then he goes 5-0 through the wickets of Jake Ottinger in a game that was filled with plenty of goals, 9 of them in total. Josh Morrissey's overtime winner, his second of the week, 4th goal of the season, is my Lamplighter of the game.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And of course, Lamplighter, I noticed some people like Second Dimension here. And this is a good one. Second Dimension says Lamplighter is the new third line. That's a good one right there. You are entered just by saying that for a chance at a frosty, delicious 8-pack of TransCanada Brewing Lamplighter Amber Ale. Just share with us your Lamplighter of the game, your favorite goal of the game. It can be from either side. I don't think many people's favorite is going to be that tying goal. It sent it into overtime tonight, but hey, whatever works. It's your choice. But share with us your Lamplighter of the game, and you are entered for the possibility of winning an 8-pack of Frosty Delicious Lamplighter Amber Ale. And if you can't wait for us to give you some of that, go to TransCanada Brewing. Go to their tap room at 11290 Kennison. Check it out. They've got a ton of great stuff there. I'm still, I feel like I started at the top of the mountain, and then I just can't, work my way anywhere else. I love their blueberry beer there, Ken. It's the absolute best. And I should note, haven't seen him in the chat room yet, but Jeff Kabilis is the winner of last show's 8-pack of Lamplighter. So Jeff, you know what to do. Get a hold of me on socials. Direct message me on Twitter at, you see it right there, at Sportsnet Sean Reynolds. Direct message me. I need your full name. I think it's probably Jeff Kabilis, and your email, and I will send you the voucher so you can go and claim that. Time for the Johnston group. Got you covered. Play of the game, Ken.
Yeah, buddy, I'm going to mention 2 here. I've already mentioned the paddle save. I think that has to be mentioned as well. Dennis Gurionov's shot on that power play goes off the post. Tyler Seguin does an amazing job, Sean. I'm sure you caught it. His ability to go skate to stick for that rebound that came off at a funny angle. Seguin hasn't. He thinks he has a wide open net. He goes skate to stick and thinks he's going to fire it in the open net. And Connor Hellebuck puts his paddle down in absolute desperation. Just an absolutely absurd save. To me, that was the primary got you covered play of the game. But the backup, Sean, I think is also one that, as someone who occasionally plays defense, the Jets had a great, amazing chance down at one end, and then they gave up a 3-on-1 the other way, and Josh Morrissey makes an outstanding play to get his stick down to, inhibit the cross-ice pass, I think by Rope Hens. So that was my honorable mention. But, I mean, it's a candidate for Save of the Year, and Hellebuck's had a couple of these ridiculous paddle saves in the last couple of weeks here. So that's my got you covered. I hope that this time I was ready. I had to defer to you on a couple. This time I had to be ready. And those are my 2. But the primary winner is the Connor Hellebuck paddle save for the got you covered play of the game, sponsored by the Johnson Group.
I would have told you that I would have gone again with the Josh Morrissey goal as being the got you covered moment of the game, right? Just because, I mean, here you go, you've got a guy, and I mean, in this situation, I still think it by the letter of the law, as it was called, Josh Morrissey initiates contact, and that's why the goal stands. So, I think, easier said than done, but the way that you avoid that situation is you get in between your goaltender and the defender, right? That usually if you are cross-checking or pushing an opposition player into your goaltender, it's because that player is in between you and your goaltender where you don't want him to be. So in that case, and I know it's a 6-on-5, and we're going to have to get into the 6-on-5 issues here, Ken. But go on. That's something
I just have a quick one based on. Put up the flash the ad, and then we'll get into it. Something just popped into my head about them.
Okay, well, let me just finish that off. Josh Morrissey, I think that's a situation. One thing that, blows me away about this team is being in the situation that they were in, and blowing that lead and doing the same thing that they did a couple nights ago against the Carolina Hurricanes. to come back out and bounce back the way that they did. And this time I was wondering if it was going to be different because Dallas got possession of that puck early in the overtime. And I was starting to think like, okay, is it just going to keep rolling? Is it going to keep rolling here? And to your point, like that breakaway speed, the way that he walks past Jason Robertson like he's standing still, Josh Morrissey is on another level right now. Like, and we'll dig more into this afterwards. But Josh Morrissey, that play is phenomenal. And Ken, if you think about a guy who goes in on breakaways like that, and to keep goalies honest, you quite often have to, you got to deke, you got to do all these different kind of things. Josh Morrissey is just walking down and picking goaltenders apart. Now that kid, Kochetkov, who just, after that signed a 4-year extension with the Carolina Hurricanes. He's been a really good goaltender lately. And, Morrissey just walks down and blows it right past him. And then in this case, Jake Ottinger is, in my opinion, on a path to being one of the best goaltenders in the NHL, and showed last year in the playoffs what he showed throughout the year last year. He's a phenomenal goaltender. And Josh Morrissey just walks down and confidently just picks them right apart. Like, it's hard to pick apart goaltenders like that with shots like that. He's not going off the bar and he's not doing any of that kind of stuff. He's finding soft spots in goaltenders, and guys who are uber confident are the guys who do that. Josh Morrissey is just out of this world right now. So I would have given him that. I agree with your play. It's good like that. But Josh Morrissey went out after everything fell apart for the Winnipeg Jets and said, don't worry, guys, I've got you covered. And the Johnston Group, they've got you covered the way Josh Morrissey gets covered the Winnipeg Jets here tonight. You won't find two businesses with the same challenges, but you will find 30,000 businesses with Chambers Plan employee benefits, proudly administered by our friends at Johnston Group. Chambers Plan is Canada's #1 plan for employee benefits because it evolves with the way you work and live. The plan is run as a not-for-profit designed specifically to support small businesses, and its unique pooling strategy keeps rates stable so you won't have any surprises at your next renewal. Chambers Plan now comes with professional consulting on key financial, legal, and HR issues, and teledoc telemedicine services are included with every health option. See how Chambers Plan can benefit your business by visiting chamberplan.ca. Ken, let's get into the 6-on-5 issues of the Winnipeg
one
Jets.
quick one, just because it was on my mind, from Matt Murray knocking the net off 3 times today. What happens in that situation if Connor Hellebuck knocks the net off as he falls backward?
Yeah, I think
It blows down.
They allow the play to keep going.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah. For sure they do. You can't knock off your own. You can't.
Well, no, but when Sean, when you are hit,
out of a scoring
I'm not saying he does it intentionally. If the player bumps Connor Hellebuck, you don't think they blow it down? Come on now.
No. If the player is deemed to have been pushed into his goaltender by the other,
well, they only figured that out after they watched the video. You
can't cheat your way out of a goal-scoring opportunity. Otherwise, people would do it all the time. You can't do that. That's how it goes. The whole idea of that rule exists to avoid players trying to cheat their way out of an opportunity. Now, do I think Connor Hellebuck tried to cheat his way out of an opportunity? I tend towards you. I think that he lost his helmet. There's a bunch of people going around, and he's ducking for cover. That's what I think. But I don't know that a ref doesn't look at that situation and think he's trying to get a whistle, and these guys are right in the middle of a potential goal-scoring opportunity. That's what's going through the ref's
I disagree.
head.
I honestly don't even think they noticed him down.
Want.
I'm just telling you, I don't think the refs, based on the actions, they didn't notice he was not in the net. That's why they allowed it. That's my view.
Yeah, you think 4 guys missed that? I saw it.
They missed a lot of other things today. They missed a lot of other things today.
You think every person in this chat room, everyone in that building, you and everyone up in the media saw, but all 4 refs on the ice failed to notice that Connor Hellebuck was down. That's what you think?
I don't think that.
I'm glad you're in Dallas. I'm glad
Good.
You're in Dallas, the home of conspiracy theories, because I've got a grassy knoll conspiracy that I'd like you to believe in too. Okay, let's get to the 6-on-5s.
Sure.
6-on-5s, let's go.
Right. So on the first one, it's a point shot that I think Nate Schmidt tips, and there's traffic. So, he tried to get in the lane, which is what we talked about the other day. The Jets knew they needed to do a better job of getting into the lane. So this time, he is in the lane. He gets a piece of it, but he didn't block it. So was there a screen in front of Hellebuck? Yes. He reacted like he never saw it. So is that a problem? Of course. It's the same problem That happened on 3 of the other goals the other night. I don't think. Here's my other issue, Shawnee. You can go ahead, but I don't see an issue on the Robertson goal because I don't even know if there's a way to determine if they're out of position because the goalie was not in the net. So I don't think structurally there was a breakdown. The puck goes to the
5.
That was 6-on-5.
No, sorry, on the last goal or the third goal you're talking about. Sorry, you're talking about the last goal.
Sorry, the third goal was also 6-on-5.
Right.
Because Schmidt had come out of the box. It was 6-on-4, then it became a 6-on-5.
Right.
So I think that Schmidt is trying to get into position. I think there is some mild confusion because it's a defenseman coming out of the penalty box. He kind of got caught in no man, like in between, whether he should be going at Robertson or getting back into the defensive posture and having someone else go out there. But, I mean, I don't know that it was a structural issue, but they didn't clear the front of the net well enough. And then the last goal was also 6-on-5, right? So, I mean, again, I don't know how the structure went because I was too busy looking at the goalie being down on the ice. So, what did you see on the replay?
Well, okay, so I don't know. I know you said that. I didn't notice that if that goal was tipped, the third goal. But what I did notice is, and I was talking about it a little bit earlier on, and you and I should have a conversation about the 5 on the dice thing that Rick Bowness was talking about, because I think it really explains a lot of their defensive structure. I talked about it, I think, before you came on. The chat room will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it feels like at 5-on-5, they've got that worked out and they've got it figured out. But what I noticed, and you and I had this conversation, when they were playing against Carolina got nowhere near the front of the net for the entirety of the game. And then they pulled the goaltender, and then the Jets couldn't keep anyone away from the net all of a sudden. So whatever is happening, the Jets aren't able to recognize the way to keep players from the front of the net. And that's exactly what I saw here on both those 6-on-5 goals. Now, I'm going to throw out the idea of the fourth goal because regardless of what we're talking about, whether that goal should have counted or not, it's kind of an extenuating circumstance that goal is scored. So you may but I don't want to throw it entirely out because one of the reasons that extenuating circumstance starts is, like I'd said earlier, Jamie Benn is right beside Connor Hellebuck. He's got access to Connor Hellebuck, and there's another Stars player there as well. So all of a sudden, the opposition, who can't get anyone near the front of the net against the Winnipeg Jets the entirety of the game, once they throw that extra man out there on 6-on-5, and here's the funny part, Ken, they can't get a guy to the front of the net on 5-on-4 either. Like, the Jets penalty kill is doing a great job of keeping everyone from the front of the net, but as soon as it switches to 6-on-5, it's a jungle out there, and suddenly everyone is getting to the front of the net. So that last goal, regardless of how it goes in, Jamie Benn is right there, and I don't know who the other player is, but there's 2 Stars players right on the doorstep in that situation. So they got there, right? And you know what happens because Jamie Benn is there, and then he gets pushed, and then the contact is initiated. The thing about the third goal, I don't know whether or not it went in. All I know is I saw Jason Robertson load up the puck and look up. And it's one of those plays, and you'll get this, Ken, you can see it in hockey. You can see when a guy sees a spot and puts it to a spot. Jason Robertson looked up, saw that top corner was open and put it there. Connor Hellebuck never sees it because I think it's Jamie Benn who's standing right in front of him, screening the goaltender. So to me, the issue is, and I'm not going to come here and say they need to do this, they got to do that, they got to switch this guy out, they got to switch that guy out. I'm not smart enough to come up with that. I don't think anyone in this chat room or in the media is. Like, this is a Rick Bowness issue. But right now, Rick Bowness's 6-on-5 coverage, as he has the teams practicing it, is failing at keeping players from the front of the net. And that cost him on all 3 6-on-5 goals that were scored on David Riddick. And that cost them on the 2 goals here tonight, was the opposition able to get people right to the front of the net. And I'll say one last thing, which is kind of a little bit of a detour, but all the people who were all over David Riddick last game and calling him terrible after he allowed those 3 goals, I don't see the same conversation in the chat room about Connor Hellebuck because he allowed 2 goals in this situation. I think people were being far too hard on David Riddick and blaming him for that comeback that Carolina made, where I think the Winnipeg Jets don't have their 6-on-5 structure figured out to keep people from the front of the net, and those guys getting to the front of the net is what's cost the goaltenders and what's costing those goals. So David Riddick, I think this shows a little bit of redemption for David Riddick because the team is having the same problem without him in the net than they had with him in the net. But the big issue here is the Winnipeg Jets coaching staff needs to devise a way at 6-on-5 to keep the net front as clean as they seem to be able to keep it in every other facet of the game.
And just one quick one. I went back and looked at the score sheet, and what I was saying was correct. I mean, Dylan DeMello and Brendan Dillon were the defensemen on the ice, and then Schmidt came out of the box, so he was kind of in a little bit of no man's land, realizing that he needed to be in the forward position, which, again, like I'd have to look back. I think he might have tipped it. Either way, the Jets obviously have to do a better job. You cannot be allowing... So now, here's the thing, Sean. Every single team in the NHL is looking around and saying, what is happening here? The Jets have given up 5 extra attacker goals in 1 week? Like, that's a lot of... Like, sure, there's some seeing eyes saying, like, that's a lot of extra attacker goals allowed for 1 month, let alone 1 week. So, I mean, it's something they definitely have to clean up. I mean, there was one other... I mean, we talked about casual or not casual. There was one opportunity for Jansen Harkins at the open net. He shot it into the, another blocked shot. Did the Jets need to do a better job in the circle? For sure. I mean, did they have better... Again, this is very interesting. It's not like they had a shooting gallery going at the end either. I mean, both shots were from Robertson. It's not like there was a ton of sustained pressure. But, yeah, I mean, the 6-on-5 structure needs to be a little bit better. Now, again, I would also say the Jets went from 6-on-4 to 6-on-5 on the third goal that was scored, which was the 4th extra attacker goal allowed this week. But, I mean, of course they're going to have to work on it. I mean, no team can survive giving up that many extra attacker goals because then no lead, like other teams are going to feel the same way the Jets do, Sean, where we say no lead is safe. So now other teams are looking around and saying, oh, man, even the Jets are giving up all these extra attacker goals. I mean, anyways, I thought they had an impressive response from Wednesday's tour showing. But at the same time, you can't just gloss this over and say, oh, no big deal, just bad luck. I mean, 1 or 2, bad luck, sure. Not 5. 5's a problem. So they're going to have to fix that for sure. One quick thing I want to go to, Cole Perfetti. No? Okay, you go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say 2 would be a problem. 2 6-on-5 goals in the last 3 games would be a problem. Usually teams are pulling their goaltender down 1. I mean, if two 6-on-5 goals against should usually lead to 2 games going into overtime, right? The fact that this is happening 3 goals and 2 goals down is another thing entirely. And I know what you're saying, Ken. They're going to have to work on it. I'm not trying to make like one of those throwaway statements. My point is it's very definitive and easy to see where the Jets are failing at 6-on-5, and it's keeping the front of their net clear. That's the issue. That's the problem. So, I mean, and I say figure it out because, like I said at the top of this, I'm not going to like pull out a chalkboard and try and tell Rick Bowness how to do that. He'd laugh me out of the building, as he should. He should laugh me out of the building if I would suggest that. I'm not going to suggest anything, but I will say this: the problem is apparent and obvious. Guys keep getting to the front of the net, and the Jets aren't allowing guys in the front of the net in any other facet of the game, but it's happening with unreal consistency when the other team puts the extra man attacker out with the empty net.
Sure. My last point on this, I would say it's a much bigger problem if those chances are coming from the high slot instead of the left point. Right, the majority of the shots are coming from the outside, so that doesn't mean they've cleaned up the stuff in front, Sean. What I'm saying is that's not a dangerous shot. The Robertson shot from the left point is only dangerous because there's traffic. So my issue is I don't have a problem from where the shots are coming from. Now, again, a Jason Robertson slap shot into an empty net, of course it's a problem. But what I'm saying is they're not giving up a shooting gallery in the high slot or in the high danger area, but they obviously need to do a better job of clearing the net and, getting pucks out when they have an opportunity and all of those things. But I would, all to say, and I'm not saying it's not a concern, it is a concern. But what I meant was you could allow one unlucky goal and then give up one, smartly executed goal in a week. But the bigger issue is you can't let this happen, or if it becomes happening with any more regularity, it's going to be a big problem. And I know what you're saying. It's already a big problem. Sure.
Yeah, well, it's there. I mean,
I don't see it in 2 games. Sorry, what I'm saying is it's happened in 2 games, basically. So I don't see that as a fire alarm. But 5 goals in a week with the extra attacker, that's going to have your attention, and there will be work done on that circumstance for sure.
You know, Ken, you and I had a little bit of a conversation when we were down in Minneapolis, and we got into this. And you know my thoughts on this because we've talked about it before. But my issue with this is going to be a detour. But my issue with the Florida Panthers going out in the playoffs last year was every one of their losses looked the same, right? You and I are on different sides of this, but. And that to me tells me that a team got out coached. It tells me that a team tried the same game plan, 1 game, 2nd game, 3rd game, 4th game. And again, Jamal Mayers jumped in on this, and he gave some pretty interesting stuff. But to me, when you see something consistently happening, when you are seeing a weakness that is consistently exploited and it looks the same every time, then that to me tells me that there's like an obvious hole that needs to be patched, right? And this is what I'm seeing from these last 5 goals. It's not that the Jets gave up a breakaway. It's not a 2-on-1. It's not any of this kind of stuff. It's crashing the net, getting the puck up high, throwing it on net, and it's finding its way in. So to me, the consistency factor, how the Jets are getting scored on, is the issue. Ken, give your main man Lou a shout out here.
You bet, folks. If you're watching live or if you're listening on the podcast and you are looking for something in the real estate side of things, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, if you're looking to downsize, if you're looking for something bigger, if you're looking just to see what the market is like, you can contact our main man, Lou Furlan. Can you put it back up?
I got it.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, my man. You could reach Lou at 204-791-9971 or at the office at 204-989-5000. Lou is my personal realtor. He's done a couple of incredible things for me in terms of finding me my 2 condos. Super happy. He's a very personable guy. He loves sports. He's a big supporter of the local sports community and just an all-around great person to go along with his outstanding realty skills.
Lou's the guy.
And let's go www.loufurlan.com or .ca.
Excellent stuff. And while we're at it, let's give a shout out to our folks at Cambrian Credit Union who've launched a new website and have a new online banking experience. As members, Ken and I both have seen it. We both love it. Ease of use. It's great stuff, and it's just one of the things we love about being members at Cambrian. Another thing is our unfee accounts, which we love banking for free with unfee. Save $220 per year. Simply set up a recurring direct deposit every month to your Cambrian checking or savings account, and you qualify. No minimum balance required. And we'll get to the home field comment. I just wanted to give it a little more time here.
Hey, sorry, one quick one. Sorry, it's loufurlan.ca. Sorry, not .com.
Yes.
My apologies on that one.
And here's the other part. I'm gonna say something about this because I keep seeing this around. Everyone seems to think that they've got a smoking gun here when they talk about the immediate scoring threat here. Immediate is a qualitative, not a quantitative statement. A qualitative, and people who don't know the difference, qualitative is a description that is open to interpretation. Quantitative is a specific amount of time. So if the rule book said you have to score the goal within 3 seconds, then you could blow that down. But immediate is a qualitative statement, which means it's up to the interpretation of the people who are making that call, and that would be the officials. And I think the officials took a look at the situation, and this is why I believe that they did see Connor Hellebuck on the ice. I think that they thought Connor Hellebuck was trying to get the play blown dead, saw that in doing so, he left an open net, and they thought contact was made. We don't have a problem with it. There's an open net, which creates an immediate scoring opportunity, back to the net, shot in 4 seconds. Anyone who thinks 4 seconds is like light years from being immediate, I don't know what to tell you. Let's move on to the third line here, Ken, because boy, oh boy, did they have a night.
Sorry, we had some guests from the adult websites there that we
Hey, Love Face is back. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
there you go.
Yeah, interesting.
Third line.
Yeah, so I love. I really liked Adam Lowry's game. Obviously, he got to the net nicely. On the tip, actually, Jansen Fialbi was out there, so he got a little bit of a bump there on that shift. I think actually that was a blended shift. Jansen Harkins had not been on the ice yet. Loved Mikey Asamont's game, Sean. I've been saying, I'm pretty sure I've said it to you. I think I said it in this chat. Mikey Asimon is becoming the next Matthew Perreault. Like, the guy's coming in there and providing a bundle of energy. He's got some good speed. He gets to the net well. He's very engaged. Got into a tilt with Mason Shaw the other night, something that kind of stemmed over from the American Hockey League from his time with the Iowa Wild playing with the Manitoba Moose. I love the way that he's been involved. And Sean, I mean, we talked about him last game. Like, you want to stay in the lineup? There's a guy named Morgan Barron about to come in. Outplay your competition. What is Mikey Asimont doing? Outplaying the competition. Adam Lowry, again, solid night overall. Important goal for him. He's up to 4 goals on the year now. Smart tip by actually Jansen Fialbi. Great job of tracking by Lowry. Now, late in the third, they kind of juggled things around a bit. Jansen Fialbi was up on the Dubois line with Connor for a bit. They moved Sam Gagner down. They shook things up a little bit later on as well. One thing I'd also like to mention, and I couldn't care less if Dylan DeMello got any points. He had 2 assists on the night. I thought he really did a nice job in that top pairing. You and I have talked about Neil Pionk kind of having a little bit of a mediocre start to the season here, if you will. I thought Dylan DeMello came in and really helped stabilize that top pair. I thought he was excellent in the game. I mean, for a guy who had missed the last 3 with that upper body issue, Dylan DeMello wasn't exactly eased into it, Sean. 31 shifts for 23:45 for Dylan DeMello. I just thought he was very stable in the game. And one other player I'd like to talk about quickly. I know you asked me what the third line. I'm sorry to go to the buffet later than normal.
Please, get at it. Get at it.
I love Cole Perfetti's game. Absolutely fantastic. We talked about the need for Cole Perfetti to do more. He had been, hadn't had his legs in a few of the games lately. I thought Perfetti was excellent today, Sean. Perfetti with the 1 goal. He had 4 shots on goal, 5 attempts, 17 shifts for only 13:03. But I really liked Perfetti's game. I thought he was skating incredibly well. Got to the net, a couple of great shots, really good scoring chances. I really liked his game a lot. I'm not sure what you thought. I'm pretty sure you would agree on that front.
Well, I got to say, Jansen Harkins, I think I've loved the energy he's brought back, and we told a story about him on the broadcast the other day. You cannot believe we're in for this scrum. When he was asked about getting sent down to the AHL, his response was, oh yeah, getting sent to the Manitoba Moose was a phenomenal opportunity, he called it. Now, think about this. A guy who's been in the NHL for 2 years, he's 2 years, kind of feels like he should be an established NHLer. I think the average NHL career is almost like, I think it's 3 years or something like that, Ken. So you're in 2 years, you've almost like had like the average career lifespan in the NHL. And then all of a sudden you get cut in favor of, a guy who got traded here last year, a guy who came in as 27 or 28-year-old, who came from the Finnish league, like a guy who got sent down to the minors somewhere else and got pulled in because one of your new coaches knows him. You would think that that's a situation where a guy could sulk, a guy could pout, a guy could go down and absolutely, lay an egg. He goes down and not only says this is a great opportunity, but backs it up. Gets 9 points in 6 games, 5 goals and 4 assists, I believe, was his stat line, or it's the other way around, 4 and 5, I'm not sure. But I thought he's come back up, and while he hasn't been, absolutely lighting up the score sheet, I think that his effort has been there consistently. I think he's been creating stuff. I think he's made that 4th line a better line. They get that goal the other day, and he's part of that goal happening. And then here tonight, not only does he get the goal, but I think he's the guy who kind of draws everyone in with the grit play along the boards underneath the net before he moves it up top. He doesn't end up on the score sheet with it, but he does the right things in that play, the right grinding kind of play sets it up. And I got to say this, that tip pass by Jansen Fialbi, wow. Wow, I've been waiting to see some skill out of this kid, and I don't know that I'm not going to say that he's arrived with that play, but boy, oh boy, a redirected tip pass, not to a player, but into a space, and the high hockey IQ of that is he redirects it on the other side of the defender so that the only person who can get to that puck is Lowry, and basically creates a tipped pass that the goaltender has to commit to the tip like it's a shot, has to get big for the shot, and creates a pass that is essentially a tap pass for a wide open net. That play, Ken, I don't recall seeing a play like that before. I'm not sure you have.
I'm not sure he was trying to pass. Would be my personal.
I think he was. I think he was.
I mean, we'll have to ask. If I see him in practice tomorrow, I'll ask him.
Ask him, and yes, because I think he absolutely was trying to do exactly what he did. Now, I call it high hockey IQ. There's no way in that moment he's calculating and saying, "Hey, I'm going to do this." It's just one of those feel plays, right? But that was.
I think he's trying to tip it to the net personally, but I mean,
I don't.
You probably had a better second look at it than me.
No, I'm telling you. I don't know. Chat room, you can back me up here if you'd like to. If I haven't tuned every last one of you out or enraged every last one of you.
Well, we still got 320 people here, so you haven't chased them away.
Well, I'm not trying to chase.
You might have enraged them, but you haven't chased them away.
Okay, good. They need some enraging with some of the takes that they're walking in here with. But back me up if you think I'm right here. I think that was a purposeful tip pass.
Interesting.
Anyway, hey, we got to get to the home field. We got to get to the home field conversation. I had it here. Where is it?
Did you start it?
I did. I just had to start a lot of bad takes tonight, Ken, that I had to respond to.
Oh boy.
I don't think I have it here. Let's move on to something quickly before we go. Well, take it away, Ken.
Take
something away. I don't know what should.
Sorry,
we go
Marshall.
to?
Who comes out of the lineup? Well, we got to see if they get healthy at the same time first, Marshall. So we can't answer that until we know who's playing well at the time. People are healthy, is what I would say.
I'm going to give this the home field dig deeper comment right here from Ice Mel. Great. Yes.
Good one.
Jets have figured
nice
out
job.
how to win 3-on-3. Too bad that is of no use in the playoffs. I think that this is a good comment, right? Because when we talk about the 6-on-5 stuff, this is something that would have an effect in a playoff game. I remember this from a couple of years ago. The Winnipeg Jets had just a ridiculous record in overtime. And I typically tend to think that the skill that they have, the way they play with open ice, the Winnipeg Jets are a team that more often than not, and way more often than not, are going to win. So there's a whole bunch of points that this team has earned in overtime this year, and that's all fine and dandy, but that disappears come the playoffs. So I think the one thing I would say about this is the miracle comeback that we saw against Seattle, the game that they had against Carolina, this game here tonight. These are all games that you walk away with a great feeling because they managed to get it to overtime and then pull away with a win, because I do feel they're a better 3-on-3 team. That's an artificial understanding of how good a team is, though. Sure, it gets you points in the regular season, and it's important. I'm not saying it's not. It's very important getting to the playoffs, but I do think that this is one of those things where there was a team last year, Ken, remind me if you can, that had just could not win an overtime game, and they were still a really good team. It may have been the Dallas Stars.
It was 2 years ago. Then they were better last year in overtime. But it cost them 2 years ago.
Stars? There you go. It was a team that just could not. So it doesn't help you there. But this is a team that just could not flip the coin, and it lands on tails every single time. That's what's happening. I'm not saying it's a coin flip. The Jets were really good at this. But if the Jets' plan is to, give away games or score their way back into games, and we've seen, like I said, this team is a rodeo. They've done a lot of both, scoring their way back into games or blowing leads and sending it into overtime. It could be a very different outcome here if it were the playoffs and they had to line up 5-on-5 for the rest of that time, especially since they're one of the, I don't know what their numbers put them here tonight, but the Jets going into their last game against Minnesota were the fourth worst 5-on-5 team in the NHL. So they're great at 3-on-3. It would be better if they were great at 5-on-5. So I smell great. You get the home field dig deeper comment to the game. Congratulations to you. And I guess, Ken, it's probably time to shut it down because you got to get going, eh?
Home field for marketing and more. You can reach them at www.homefield.ca.
Bring up the brand.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, good stuff. Home field, our new sponsor. We're happy. And I guess we can announce it, Ken. We're taking stock of whoever wins these home field awards. There's an award coming. We actually have a physical award that we're going to give away when that happens. So you should be digging deeper. Leave all these bad takes aside, people, and dig deeper, and then you may get the Home Field Dig Deeper award when it happens. I feel like someone was talking about the trolls the other day. I feel like I trolled the chat room pretty hard here tonight, and it was fun. Well, it is what it is. Ken, we gotta let you go. So before we do go, I want to make sure we give a shout out to our sponsors. I've said it once, I'll say it every single time. If you enjoy the conversations happening in these spaces, please appreciate our sponsors who make sure that this space stays alive. That would be Vittorio Rossi, TransCanada Brewing Company, the Johnston Group, Lou Ferlin, Home Field, and of course Cambrian Credit Union. Ken, appreciate you as always. It was a fun show tonight. I enjoyed this chat room.
Great intensity for you.
Yeah, it was a great night from the chat room. Absolutely love getting taken on by the chat room. I'll tell you, it's an exhilarating feeling when you feel like you're going up against the entire chat room. It feels like you're in a bar brawl with and everyone's throwing chairs at you and bottles.
Sean thrives on confrontation, people, in case you're unaware. Thrives on confrontation.
Because when you have the truth on your side, nothing can bring you down. Great to see you, people. We will talk to you after the next game. Thanks for choosing to spend time with us. Enjoy your night.